Hi everybody, it's Susan from Sunrise Quilt Studio and welcome to week 21 of the Stash Buster block series. The block today is called Winged 4-Patch and this is the block here. It is made with a center 4-patch unit and some flying geese units and a couple of single blocks in the corner. I made this one with 4 different fabrics and it measures 8 inches, and the written instructions on my blog will also have instructions to cut your fabrics for a 12-inch block, so you can check for those there, and there'll be a link in the description box below where you can get those. So I'm going to adjust the camera and then I'm going to show you the fabrics that you need to cut to make this block. Now the fabrics that I chose for this block are mostly medium hues. They're all kind of the same, except for this purple, which will show up dark if you looked at this like in a black and white photo. We've got the light, the dark, and then we have 2 mediums is what we have. For the background fabric, you're going to need to cut 4 rectangles that are 2.5 by 4.5 inches. For the star points here, you're going to need 8 pieces that are 2.5 inches square, and then for these squares here, they're also 2.5 inches square and you need 4 of those, and then for your dark squares you'll need 4 that are 2.5 inches square. So the cutting is simple. They're all the same size except for your white rectangles, which are 2.5 by 4.5. So the first thing I'm going to do is to make the 4-patch, and then I'm going to make the flying geese units. So with the 4 patches, you just need 2 of your darks, which for me are the purples, and then 2 of your print, which mine are this, my print is this marble fabric. And you're just going to match them up right sides together and sew them on your sewing machine. And I will adjust the camera and show you how to do that. I have my 1/4 inch piecing foot on, and I'm using an all-purpose thread in a neutral color. It's an off-white. And this is just a 2.5 stitch length. So it's just standard. Now I want to press these towards the dark fabric, and then the next thing I'm going to do is just to flip them so that they are opposite. Just lay them out like the sample block and then stitch those together. Just butt up my seams so that they'll nest together, and then stitch these. Okay, there's the 4-patch. And I'm going to press these. I'm just going to press the seam to one side. And then the next thing I need to do is to make the flying geese units. Now those are made with my white rectangles and my blue 2.5 inch squares. And to do this, I need a diagonal line on the blue fabrics. That's what I'm using for my star points. So I'm going to get a straight edge, and you can use a ruler, or I have a template here that I'm going to use, and a marking pen. Use something that will show up on your fabric. And this is a air soluble pen that I have here, and I'm just going to draw a line one point to the other, and that's dark enough that I can see that. Now that is going to go on my rectangle piece, and what I want that is for the line to go from the center of the block to the bottom corner. So my drawn line goes from this point down, and I'm going to line that piece up and I'm going to sew on that line. So get all my raw edges even, and then sew from corner to corner on that blue square. And to make this go faster, you can do all your marking first before you even start sewing. Now, before I put the other side on, I need to trim this and press out the triangle. So I've trimmed this down so that I have a 1/4 inch seam allowance here. And now I'm going to press it open so that I will have something that looks like this. So I'm going to press this towards the triangle, so the seam will be pressed towards the dark. And I'm going to take another blue square and do the same thing. I'm going to mark a line. And what I usually do is, I usually do mark all of these all at once before I sit down to sew them. And if you're really good at eyeballing a straight line on a diagonal, you might not need to mark these at all. But okay, I'm going to line these up. And my drawn line is going from this corner to this corner. And then I'm going to sew right along that. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to trim that off. So I have a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And you can save those little pieces for another project if you want. And then I'm also going to press this piece out towards the dark. So then we'll have the flying geese unit. So here we go. One flying geese unit. Now you need to make 4 of these, so just going to continue on, and you can chain piece these together if that works better for you. But I'm going to make the rest of these, and then the block will be ready to lay out so that we can put it together. Okay, I have all the pieces ready to lay out the block, so I'm going to start with the center, and what I want to do is go ahead and do the first row and put the star points on, and those will face the 4 patch. And the purple and the print fabric, they're all going to fall in line with each other. So I'm going to put the print up here and the purple here. I'm going to put the star points on the second row and the third row, and put in the purple square and the print square. So here's the block, and now I'm going to sew the pieces together in rows, and then I will sew the rows together and the block will be done. Now I'm going to go through and just sew the first 2 pieces of each row together and just chain piece them together. So here's the first 2 pieces of row 1. I'm just going to leave them there, and then I'm going to sew the first 2 pieces of row 2. And this one has the point in it it has the star points. So it has a point here that I'm going to try and keep in there. So what I'm trying to do is to hit my stitches just on the seam side of where they cross, and that's where they form the point, and I don't want to cut it off. So if I go to this side of that point, it will cut the point off. Okay, and then here's piece 1 and 2 of the third row. So line that up, And now I'm going to go ahead and cut them apart because I have pieces flipped and I want to make sure I have them back in the right order. Like I have this one facing this way when the row actually goes that way. So I want to go ahead and lay all of these pieces out so I make sure I am sewing everything to the right side. So now I can attach piece number 3 to row 1. And then here is row 2. And this has a point I need to watch. And row 3. Now I need to sew all the rows together, but first I want to press the seams. Okay, to press these, I want to decide which way these seams are going to go. I think I will press these out. I want to press these in, so I want those to go this direction, and then press these out, and that'll make it easier for them to nest together when I sew the rows together. So I'm going to just go ahead and press these out. I want to press these in. These are the most difficult to press, this row here, because there's a lot of seams coming together right here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seams coming together. So it's not going to want to press one way or the other. It doesn't matter which way I press it, it's going to fight. So we'll just make sure it goes the way we want it to. Okay, now I can sew all 3 rows together. I would do the first 2 rows. I'm going to match up my seams, and then I'm going to stitch just right above the cross section here on my point, and we'll be doing good. Let's go to the sewing machine. Okay, here's rows 1 and 2. Just making sure everything is lining up. Okay, and I'm going to add row 3 now. Do the same thing, matching up my seams. I have to keep raising my presser foot because of the way my piecing foot is shaped. It likes to catch the seam there. Okay, now let's press this open and see what we have. Okay, here's our block. And I'm just going to press both of these seams that I just stitched, and then just roll them open and give them a shot of steam. I hope the background noise isn't too bad. My daughter knows I'm down here filming, but she decided to get in the shower evidently. Didn't realize that it was going to cause noise down here. So here's the block. This is the winged 4-patch. Okay, I have 4 of these blocks made, so I thought I would show you what they would look like if we set them together side by side. I've got one that has a different color blue in it, but if we put all the purple outer corners together, this is what that block looks like. And then if we alternated the blocks, we have that look. And if we put all of the prints together in the middle, we have that look. So you can get a couple of different looks from these blocks. You know, they don't all have to be the same colors. They could all be different colors, kind of like, you know, I have an oddball one here, because I made this one first as a practice block and decided I didn't like this blue, so I went ahead and switched over to this color. So, but I don't want to waste a block, so it's going to be used for something. There is the winged 4-patch. And one thing I wanted to show you, if you saw the previous video on the Stash Buster blocks, we did the Indian star. And believe it or not, this is the same exact pattern, only it has different fabrics in it, different colors, but they're laid out differently. Instead of having these 2 pieces be in background, you can see that we had 2 solids and 2 prints, and then the corners, opposite corners, are different fabrics. But that is what difference fabric placement and fabric color can make in your quilt blocks. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video on the winged 4-patch, and I hope you'll give this block a try. This one can make a very striking quilt when you have all of the blocks laying side by side. And it's not a difficult block. This would be a pretty good beginner block, I believe, and you just need to know how to do a 4-patch unit and a flying geese unit, and that's about all you need. So I hope you give it a try. And I hope if you do like this video that you will click the like button, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, and click the notification bell so that you'll be notified when the next video comes out. And you can find the written instructions for this pattern on my blog, and the link is in the description box below, and you can get those and print them out there in a PDF format. And you can also follow me on Instagram at Sunrise Quilt Studio if you'd like to do that. And I thank you for watching, and please stay healthy and stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. For more quilting ideas, click on the video links. And to keep up with my latest projects, click on the subscribe button. I hope to see you again soon.